Greetings, students. How's everything going? I hope that all of you are safe and sound and enjoying our Christmas carol for this term. Time is up to start chapter 3. It is a highly enjoyable chapter, but I would like to draw your attention that it is an imaginary story, not based on a true story. Marley's ghost. Do you remember who is Marley? Yes, Marley was Scrooge's only friend and business partner who died 7 years ago on Christmas Eve. Do you remember the last scene in chapter 2 when Scrooge had hardly accepted to give his clerk a day off to celebrate Christmas with his family? After approving and accepting to give his clerk a day off under one condition, which was to come early in the morning the next day, his clerk had rushed home to celebrate Christmas with his family, and Scrooge ate his dinner alone in a nearby inn and then went to his home. Many strange things had happened to Scrooge in this day, or in this night. The first thing was when the large metal door knocker had changed to Marley's face. But at first Scrooge had thought it was just his imagination, despite being the first time to think about Marley since his death, and this shows how much Scrooge wasn't a faithful and a loyal friend. Scrooge had made fun of what he had seen and said "Pooh, pooh." He also closed the door with a bang, as if he wanted to assure himself that all of this was just an illusion, was out of his imagination. Then a hearse had appeared while climbing the stairs, and a hearse is the vehicle that transports dead people to their cemetery. This time as well he had tried to falsify what he had seen due to the insufficient light at the stairs. Insufficient light means that there wasn't enough light to make the vision clear. Okay? So why Scrooge wasn't worried about darkness? Why darkness didn't irritate Scrooge? Scrooge's home was dark and isolated place, which reflects his miserly, cold-hearted character. Scrooge was a tight-fisted person who preferred darkness than light, just to save money to buy candles. The tiles above the fireplace had changed to Marley's face, and still Scrooge was oblivious and didn't believe it. He started to feel afraid when the unused bell had suddenly moved and then rang. Scrooge had heard a noise coming from the empty rooms beneath the building. It was as if someone was dragging some kind of chains across the floor, and he remembered that ghosts were believed to do this. Yet, still humbug what he had uttered, which shows how he was a stiff person and couldn't be easily moved by anything. Finally, he found Marley's ghost in front of him, chained. At this point, humbug had vanished. So, to put all in a nutshell, okay, what scared Scrooge? The door knocker that changed to Marley's face, the hearse that appeared to him, the pictures above the fireplace that changed to Jacob's face, the bell that suddenly rang, the noises that came from the empty rooms beneath the building, when Jacob Marley's ghost had appeared, when the ghost made loud cry and shook the chain, when he told Scrooge that he was chained for the bad things he did in his life, and the last 2 points we are going to discuss thoroughly in the coming slides. Okay, can you notice how Scrooge was terrified when Marley's ghost had appeared to him? Why do you think Marley's ghost was chained? Why do you think Marley's ghost had appeared to Scrooge? In life, I was your partner. Jacob Marley said these words. Here, Jacob Marley wanted to tell Scrooge that during life, yes, we were partners, we were friends. Despite the fact that we had never talked with each other except in business. But on friendly basis, we had never talked to each other. We had never opened our hearts to each other. We had never had a friendly talking, okay? But after death, things had changed. Jacob Marley had discovered many things after his death. Why do you doubt your senses? Here, Jacob Marley wanted Scrooge to believe his presence, and he thought, or he had noticed, that Scrooge didn't believe his presence. He was still doubting his senses, so he asked him, "Why do you doubt your senses?" Scrooge replied, saying that little things affect them, even something I may have eaten. "You are humbug. That's what you are. I tell you, humbug." Scrooge didn't believe the presence of the ghost. At this point, okay, the ghost cried out and shook its chain. It made such a frightening noise that Scrooge held on tightly to his chair to save himself from fainting. Okay, he was afraid. Scrooge, at this point, he feared the presence of the ghost and he believed the presence of the ghost. So, to get the long story short, when Marley's ghost appeared to Scrooge, he wanted to make sure that Scrooge believed his senses and no doubt in the ghost's presence. The ghost told Scrooge that he was his partner when Marley was alive. This shows that everything had changed after his death. Scrooge still doubted his senses, as little things only could affect his senses. Scrooge had abandoned his doubt when the ghost made a strange loud voice and took off his hat. Yet Scrooge didn't know why Marley's ghost had paid him this visit after 7 years of his death. And paying a visit means exactly visiting. Please highlight and write the following analyses. Scrooge had wondered why Jacob Marley's ghost was chained. Jacob Marley's ghost had told Scrooge that these chains were because of the bad things that he did when he was alive. Jacob Marley had done many hideous and obnoxious things when he was alive. He was mean, miser, hard-hearted, tight-fisted man. And this explains why no one attended his funeral except Scrooge. Because birds of the same feather flock together. Scrooge and Marley were friends. They were alike. They had the same personality and the same character. Scrooge also had wondered why Jacob Marley's ghost had paid him a visit. And this visit was to warn him from the doomed fate that Scrooge was going to face if he didn't change his attitude towards people. And he still had a chance to change. Scrooge was shocked and he wondered how big his chains were going to be after his death. This was the first spark in Scrooge's life reformation. It was the turning point in his life. Scrooge was worried to the extent that he wanted to know more about his fate. Jacob Marley's ghost had told Scrooge that he wasted his life and he did nothing of any value. And when Scrooge had heard this, he had got stunned. Actually, he was shocked because Jacob Marley was a successful businessman and he did fortune. He made fortune and he made lots of money. But after death, Jacob Marley had discovered that money wasn't the essence of life. It was of no value. He should have done many things to help his fellow men. And Christmas time was the worst time for him because he wasn't charitable. He wasn't good to people. He didn't treat them well. So he believed that helping his fellow man was more fundamental than making money, and being charitable was more important. Marley's ghost had ensured Scrooge that he still had a chance to change and avoid the same doomed fate that Marley had received. The ghost had told Scrooge that he was going to be visited by three spirits, and they were the only means for his salvation and to change his fate. Scrooge was going to be visited by three spirits. Three spirits. And these three spirits are going to play a vital role in Scrooge's life reformation. Marley's ghost had shown Scrooge many of his fellow men who were being tortured This was to prove that Scrooge had to take this issue seriously.